have you ever heard of your lizard brain? Yeah, lizard brain. If you have, then you can turn this video off and carry on with your day. Go have some fun. If you haven't and you're interested, then stay tuned. So your lizard brain is a part of your brain. It's legit. This is science, bitches. This isn't a holistic nutritionist kind of making shit up. This is a legitimate part of your brain. It's something that starts with an H. Anyway, it's known as your lizard brain because it is from like way back at the beginning of time, like when we humans just first started walking on the earth. And its function was to be hyperly aware of any danger that might be lurking around our world. And thank you, lizard brain, because, you know, you protected us, and wow, we're still here. Good job. So it would be that part of your brain that would alert you to the saber-toothed tiger that's kind of right behind that bush, and you'd be like, ugh. But nowadays, of course, there's no saber-toothed tigers hanging out in a parking lot at a grocery store, or, you know, as you're driving along to work, and one's not going to suddenly come bounding out of the bushes and try and attack you. Yay, right? But your lizard brain still wants to feel important and wants to still feel like it has a job, so it's now going to alert you of dangers that may exist kind of not really. So it's going to make shit up. And it's going to do that by, hey, it's going to say to you, maybe you shouldn't do that. You're going to get hurt. Or you're going to probably fail miserably, make a fool of yourself. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. I don't think you should go there. Oh, you probably shouldn't take that trip because what if this happens and this happens and this happens? And, oh, you're going to change your job? I'm not comfortable with that. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to alert you of the danger that all of these different choices that you're planning on making are going to create in your world. So there may not be physical threats necessarily, but they become mental threats, and your lizard brain will talk you out of all kinds of stuff and create a very nervous, anxious kind of environment in your head. And I know this because I used to live with that, I'm going to say every day. And every day I would wake up and I'd have this sort of anxiety, this sort of underlying kind of fear. And instead of investigating it to find out what it is, I just kind of thought, this is me. Oh my God, this is my life. This is how I live. And I would ignore it as best as I could by going out with the kids to anything, or even just driving to Tim Hortons and getting a coffee just to preoccupy myself with things. Or I would, clean the house. That wasn't as often as it probably could have been. Or go shopping, or, anything or maybe like a tub of Haagen-Dazs caramel cone explosion. Maybe that. Anything that would resist, fight, ignore, things that I think would help me get through this anxiety, this feeling. And now I've come to realize, because I know better now, that that's not cutting it. So I'm going to offer you what I do now, which gets me out of it. And I'm living proof of this because today I woke up with that angst. So it does come back. But what I do now is I apply my true being, my true gifts and talents to the situation. So instead of running away from it, I sit with it. So I invite you to do the same. You go outside if you can, if it's an okay day out. Otherwise, you find as quiet a space as you can. And you sit down and you're feeling that angst, and you're like, okay, now you know it's your thoughts. It's your lizard brain creating these thoughts to try and protect you. So it's trying really hard to help you out, but it's really, it's just not. It's making things worse. Sorry, lizard brain. So you sit down, you take a nice deep breath in. Just exhale. And you just take a couple of those to calm that shit down a little bit, even if it's just a smidge, even if it's just taking it down half of a level. Just calm down, and then just become aware of what's around you. So if you're outside, listen for nature. If you're indoors, just sit with the silence, feel the air on your skin, right? And just be for a second or two with that anxiety. And realize you're okay. In this moment right now, you're okay. Then start kind of talking to that lizard brain and start investigating the thoughts. Like what thoughts are actually creating this feeling? So for example, for me this morning, when I woke up with it and I was sort of, and I got a cup of coffee and I'm still sitting, I'm like, what the fuck? But as soon as I sat down and spent some time investigating and giving it space to be, I was able to figure out what was going on. And for me, it was in a couple of weeks, I'm starting my business up again. So I'm going to be doing my fitness classes, and I'm also going to branch out and start doing what I used to do, which is nutritional consulting and kind of soul work. And my thoughts are like, who the fuck am I? Like, oh my God, with the fitness classes, they're going to come back. What if they hate it now? What if they can't stand? What if they found something better? And, are they going to like it? Are they, am I good enough? Always. It's always, am I good enough, guys? The underlying theme of all of this shit is, am I good enough? And the nutritional consulting, there's a bazillion consultants out there. Why would they come to me? Who the fuck am I? Am I good enough? And when I'm in that lizard world, then yeah, I'm not good enough. But when I come in and I give that some space and I realize that the real me who's observing those thoughts and talking to that lizard brain and dealing with that lizard world, the real me is really fucking good enough. And that I'm all that I need to be. And that I remind myself of the truth of me, the true value of me and of you, of all of us, is that we are kind, loving, compassionate humans. And then I apply that kind, loving, compassionate vibe to my lizard brain, and it calms down. And I'm able to soothe without that tub of ice cream. I'm able to soothe just simply by being. And then what does that do? That boosts me up. I lift myself up because I realize I have the capacity to calm myself down. And I have the gift to be able to apply love and kindness to a very anxious mind. And then I'm feeling better. And then when I'm feeling better, I'm going to be a better person. And it just is that. So instead of this crazy spiral of, oh my God, I'm not good enough, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, really? Your world's going to fall apart. Don't be ridiculous. Instead, I'm here and it's, hey, I'm good enough. Hey, I feel pretty calm about this. Hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to, maybe I'll start designing a little flyer for my business because I want to share. I want to share with people. I want to share my gifts. I want to give. So that's the space. That's the space that you get to when you give it time. But you got to give it time and you got to give it practice. And it may be really fucking weird at first to sit with your anxiety. It's like, what? But eventually, I promise you, if it doesn't dissolve completely, it will dissipate. I am a living proof. Okay? So, you're going to have a little chat with your lizard brain and say, hey, dude, what's up? Why you got to do me like this, yo? And then realize that the thoughts are creating the feeling, and as you soothe the thoughts with the realness of you, when you apply your source of goodness and you come to recognize and reconnect to your true value, you'll understand that, that other stuff isn't really all that important. And there's always a plan B. What if I do fail? What the fuck, right? I mean, really? My world won't crumble. Life will go on. And quite frankly, I'm a true believer in, things happening for a reason. I really do believe that stuff. So I look for the lesson, right? I look to better myself. How can I make this a better me? How can I learn from this? So yeah, so sit down with that lizard brain, have a little chat when you need to, okay? And try, applying a little bit of humor as well if you can, right? And remind yourself that it's the being, not the doing, that matters. So be that source of kindness that's in you. You're so fucking good. You're awesome. Okay, I hope that helps. See you soon.